Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for March 15th, 2019. Qs and SPY bullish. We were bullish coming into today, bullish on all time frames. Dips are buyable, and we continue to stay strong. So we'll watch this uptrend continue. The kind of earliest that we can look for a change in that is a shift to neutral under 280.33 on the SPY, and then underneath this pivot here on the Qs. So the Qs have, because they've been stronger, has a little bit more ways to go to really damage the hourly uptrend, but that's going to be 176.68 on the Qs. Okay, now as far as the daily goes, I don't think we're really anywhere near that, okay, as far as ending the long-term uptrend. Okay, so on the Qs, that's way down here at this pivot. That's going to be 169.30. And then SPY, here's your buy setup here. Here's your pivot. Okay, 274.46. Okay, we've been bullish for the pretty much all week here. All time frames are still pointing higher. So we'll just keep an eye out for the hourly to be the first sign of some change. And then we'll shift to a neutral bias, see how that pivot on the daily holds, and then go from there. Okay, so just following the trend here, uptrend, as we have had since the beginning of the year. Okay. All right, so now let's get into the CRE. I only called one symbol today, but called it twice. Okay, so the first call on the CRE came out of this consolidation in the morning on the CRE basing here. Okay, so basing and then looking for this breakout. Now, why am I looking for a long on this CRE? Because it's a professional gap up, clearing resistance. This is all-time highs, okay? So bullish bias, pro gap, okay? And then we break out of this consolidation. Okay, 55.25, we triggered in by 54.90. That's the bottom of this bottoming tail, okay? So that's a 35-cent stop. Now, we got the breakout. Market was at the highs. Market looked like it wanted to come in. And then the CRE put in an inside bar. Notice the volume did increase a little bit here on this entry bar. So I said, let's just be weary of a breakout failure. Okay. And so you got the breakout, the inside bar. I want to make sure that we don't get sucked into this play only to have a reverse. So I trailed it to 55.20. Now, of course, next thing it did, it came in and it took out the trail. Now, I know some people in the room who stuck with it and did not get trailed out. And so it turns out that was the right thing to do. But I have it within my plan as the first decision point. If I get something that looks like a breakout failure, I can bring the stop up, right, to kind of reduce it to almost break even basically on this. Now, so it came in and got us out. And so we were out. I actually got filled at 55.15, so it gave it to me right at the bottom. So I watched it, continued to watch it. It didn't really come in much. Okay, so that means let's play it again. Let's get back in it over 55.40 over these equal highs here, and let's get back in. Okay, so like, I know that we commonly say not to revenge trade, right? And this is by no means a revenge trade because there is another entry. This is just now a buy setup, right? Here's a high, lower high, and then a break of a previous lower high in the context of an uptrend, right? I'm playing a new play essentially, but it's the same symbol. Okay, so like I know that, you know, early on from when I first started, if I played something long and then I got shaken out of it, then I would think, okay, well then it must be a short, you know. And I still kind of hear that from people. Sometimes people think, oh, what do I think about something long? And I'll say, well, maybe I don't like it, and they'll say, okay, then I guess, you know, I can short it. And then, you know, that isn't, and not everything is either long or short. There are plenty of things that just, you know, aren't good enough reward to risk or a good enough pattern or don't have a good edge there. So, you know, that I think trap of revenge is what most people kind of want to advise against. That you think, oh, well, you know, if it didn't work, or say, you know, you miss this CRE, right? And then as it's moving up, right, you think, okay, I'm gonna just, it must come down, right? I missed it. I should have played it long, so I'm gonna short it. And then, you know, that continues to work and go and go, and you're just watching that position kind of take on water, right? That's another kind of version of revenge trading, thinking that, well, since I missed the long, I should aggressively get it short, right? So this is specifically, I wouldn't even really call it revenge. It's really just I'm replaying it. Now, is it annoying and frustrating, whatever, that it didn't just go right away, or that it gave it to me right at the bottom there, right? Yeah, I guess so, right? That's annoying. I wish it hadn't trailed. I wish it just went, and then we wouldn't have to start off with a loss. And some people didn't. I know some people in the room who just stuck with the original stop. Maybe you don't have it in your plan to trail on in any indication of a breakout failure. Okay. Then you just stuck with it. You didn't have that. But this, I know I can replay. It's a good setup. Okay. This is just a chance to get back in. And if you notice too, we actually got a tighter stop on the CRE. So we actually got to get more shares than we initially had on the CRE on the replay. And then, you know, the CRE took off. Now we took it all around 56.20. I think trailed out like under 16 or so in here because I trailed it on the 2 minute, and it still just kept going. Did a pullback and then kept going some more. So, you know, hopefully, I think some people did manage to do even better on this than the official management, which is always great to see. And I know a lot of people actually partook in this CRE, and so I thought it was just a great way to end the week. On the CRE, on a good week, I thought there was good follow through, maybe except for Monday. Monday, I didn't really see a lot of good stuff to play, but Tuesday through today was all pretty good. Okay, so, you know, you can call it revenge, I guess. I kind of felt like it was a little bit of revenge for shaking me out, but getting back in was not anything that was not standard procedure. There wasn't any exception made just because I took a loss on it first, right? There wasn't anything different about it. If I had missed this first entry, I could have just played it, right? It had nothing to do with the fact that I did take a loss, but this is the means to get back in to make sure that this doesn't go without me, right? That this doesn't get the better of me. And of course, you could have, you know, if I hadn't played it, right, you think, oh man, I just picked the wrong time, you know. So it's this kind of thing that we just have to make sure we know how we're going to be able to take advantage of this and not let the market beat us, right? And then the last thing you want to do is start, you know, just because you did take a loss, start to compromise or get overly aggressive. Compromise the quality of the setup and get overly aggressive. Okay, so I just wanted to go over this because this was absolutely a small loss on the first play. We trailed it under 20. For me, gave it to at 15, which, okay, fine, CRE if you want to. But, you know, this had a little bit of spread. It's going to happen. It's not a big deal. And then, you know, just replay. It's a 2-minute buy setup, all right? So sometimes, you know, you manage it a little bit too tight. That's what happened here. Or it just did what it wanted to do, was shake out. I mean, even if, you know, you were looking at it on the 5-minute here, you know, and if you looked at this 5-minute, you say, what a nice run up, right? All the way. If there was any way where to get shaken out since we got in, you can see it's right there. That broke that previous bar's low. So, you know, we accepted the shakeout, got back in, and more than made up for it, right? It was pretty good all around, I think, for the CRE. So just thought that you may benefit from that lesson, because I know we all go through kind of emotional up and down, some days worse than others. And, you know, you just want to make sure you keep that in check, and that if you're going to replay something that you took a loss on, right, that there's a legitimate strategy and pattern there, that is not just a matter of, I want to get back any losses. Okay, so going into Monday, cautiously bullish. We're watching the hourly to see if the hourly trend breaks. That'll give us some sign to shift to a neutral short-term bias. And then the long-term bias remains intact as long as the daily remains in an uptrend. Okay? All right, so that's going to do it for today's market wrap. Hope you had a great week. and have a great weekend as well. All right. So I will talk to you on Monday.